Do you know the song?
Sounds familiar.
Okay. Let's see if you know.
It's not Procol Harum, is it?
Nope. It's the Hollies. I'm strong, Danny.
He's my brother. So when we were working together, there was this dude who would call the station at about 4:45 every morning, and he wanted to hear this song. My brother's dying.
Yeah.
Like, your brother's been dying for 2 years. You call every day.
He's not heavy. He's my brother. A heavy situation, though, between brothers. Danny sent this to me in Plattsburgh. Listen to this.
The other big story we're following is back here at home.
By the way, this TV station, it looks like a college station.
Oh, it's probably one of those.
It's all these got all these young kids, and some of them you could tell they make no money.
They have to wear these weird suits.
Well, they look like they're in their dad's clothes, or their rumpled collar, or whatever.
It's like people who aren't accustomed to to dressing up, who go to funerals.
Yes,
and you see how they're dressed. You're like, yeah.
The other big story we're following is back here at home. A day after police stopped a Plattsburgh man from going into CVPH with a loaded shotgun, we're hearing from the man who alerted all officers.
Robert Thibodeau's older brother was the one who called police, and this afternoon he spoke with NBC5's Tyler Baranski. Tyler's in the newsroom now with more on how things.
Alex Bryan, well, Robert Thibodeau called his older brother Tuesday morning. He quickly realized that his brother was upset about losing his job to the point he was not sounding like himself. It led him to take action that saved many lives on Tuesday. Robert Thibodeau's older brother describes their Tuesday morning phone conversation as tense from the start.
That's pretty good to pick up on that.
Yes, well, okay, that's great. I was thinking, is it something with family that you could pick up on it because it's family, right? Mm-hmm. You know the voice, you know the inflection, you know the
stuff.
You're
right.
Right.
Yeah.
But could you do it with a good friend? Probably. Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. But the brothers are talking on the phone. Hang on a second.
Alex Bryan, well, Robert Thibodeau called his older brother Tuesday morning. He quickly realized that his brother was upset about losing his job to the point he was not sounding like himself. It led him to take action that saved many lives on Tuesday. Robert Thibodeau's older brother describes their Tuesday morning phone conversation as tense from the start.
He was upset. He was, I'm going to say he was agitated.
His brother telling NBC5 that Robert was terminated that morning from his job as a senior electrician at CVPH. Thibodeau was passed over for promotion.
We're removing your shorts.
So he put in his 3 weeks notice. Then on Tuesday, according to his brother, found out he was terminated immediately. His brother says he could feel Robert's demeanor was off.
It just wasn't him. It would be like having a conversation with your brother or sister or father or mother.
Or anybody you know.
And you know something is wrong.
Things quickly escalated with the sound over the phone of Robert loading up a gun.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that was a giveaway.
Yeah. Robert, what is that? Nothing? Robert.
Yeah. It's almost like the guy was crying out for help.
Well,
saying, quote, that upper management at CVPH was dead.
I felt compelled that I needed to go and be there and hope that I could change some of his actions.
His brother drove to Robert's Plattsburgh home, unsuccessfully trying to block Robert's vehicle from leaving the driveway.
Robert,
drove around him?
I guess. Plattsburgh. By the way, did you see the guy? The guy that is accused?
Yeah. He looks like my neighbor.
He looks like Plattsburgh. He looks like Plattsburgh.
He then followed Robert.
If you said
he looks like he had a few Plattsburghers.
You said to me, if this guy is this guy from Fairport? Is this guy from Dunedin, Florida, or is this guy from Plattsburgh? I'm going Plattsburgh. He looked Plattsburgh.
Calling 911, directing state police on his route. Police ended up arresting Robert near Broad Street off Prospect Avenue, less than a mile from CVPH's campus, before anything could escalate further.
It's a sad choice where I had to choose between making a decision to put him where he needs to be or people dying, then
that had to be a tough thing, but that's why.
Mother says Robert never mentioned any prior work issues, and he didn't notice any major concerning signs leading up to this incident, describing him as someone that made a bad judgment.
I hope that they'll handle the case the way that they're preaching mental health awareness or treatments versus putting someone in prison and not getting the actual help that they need.
Robert Thibodeau remains in the Clinton County Jail tonight. He's set to appear back in court tomorrow.
All right, there you go. But that's why I asked, when have you saved someone from themselves? This brother saved him from himself because he would have done something potentially horrific. Maybe he would have had an attack of conscience before he actually walked in there. Well, we can only hope. But he saved himself from a murder charge, potentially, life in prison, losing everything. At least here, who knows? You ever save anybody? I mean, even think of this in embarrassing moments.
Yes.
Like a drunk buddy, you pull his, hey, man, let's bring it down a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So one time, picture it, Orchard Park. It's a Sunday. The Bills are playing the Giants. Wade Phillips is the head coach of the Bills. I'm a Fisher sophomore. My buddy Joe, who was a Giants fan at the time, now he's a Bills fan, he and I went to the game. And we sat up at the very last row, back before they had the bathrooms dug out and all that stuff, and you could walk around the up top. You couldn't do that back then. Or actually, you could do that back then. So we had security guards actually overlooking us at the time. And somehow he snuck in like 8 Bud Ices.
Your buddy did?
Security was kind of lax, yeah, into the stadium. So he's drinking like the whole time. Like never had to get up to go to the bat, nothing. So he's pretty loaded up. Giants win the game. Doug Flutie was the Bills quarterback. He goes, now, there's a lot of people that come across the border to watch the game, a lot of Canadians. He goes, I'll tell you what about your freaking team, Dan. You're never going to win with a Canadian quarterback. And this dude, 20 rows down by the exit, hears that. He goes, I just heard someone make fun of Canadian quarterbacks, and I'm going to climb all the way back up to the top row to defend Canada. And he was freaking serious. And this dude and his crew came all the way back up the stadium. And I said, listen, man, you just, and I'm sober. I go, look, you just came across the border, okay? I don't want you to get get banned from this country for knocking out an idiot.
Yeah.
Because my friend here, he's a Giants fan. What does he know? He's from Albany. Okay? He's a drunk. He drinks Bud Ice. Do you drink Bud Ice? You drink probably Triple X. Actually, I drink Labatt's. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
You drink the good stuff, right? I actually talked the guy out of not kicking my friend's ass.
Meanwhile,
he's still talking. Joe's still talking.
He couldn't save himself.
Yeah.
I wonder what it'll be like when the brother gets out. Or I would even think that the brother who called the police would go visit his brother in the clink.
Yeah.
Or wherever he ends up. I'm sure he'll go visit him. But let's say in 18 months, Thibodeau is on probation. And he's at the Big M in Plattsburgh. It's the grocery store. Comes around the corner from the coffee aisle after he grabbed the Big M K-Cups.
Yeah.
A big box of those. And he's going to get a 12-pack of Natty Light. And there is one of the CVPH upper management. Right there. Does Thibodeau say anything? Because Plattsburgh's not a big area.
No.
It's not a big area.
Do they have a college there?
Yeah.
St. Lawrence there?
I know. I think so. And I think Plattsburgh State is there.
Okay. Yeah. SUNY Plattsburgh.
SUNY Plattsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's up there, yeah.
So, I mean, do you mumble, I'm sorry? Oh, sorry.
Dude, I had to take care of you.
What if you're a member of upper management and this story is out that this guy was coming, his brother heard him load up the gun, and do you say, sure, he wasn't coming for me? Bob was the guy who
probably discussing it now. Okay.
Bob passed him over. I I said he should get that job.
Dude.
He's been here 28 years. I said he should have it. Bob said no. And then when he put his 3 weeks in, Bob goes, that's it, get him out.
I'm putting my 2 weeks in now if I work for that company.
You think so?
And I'm getting the F
Do you
out.
think there's more people that are coming?
They're probably discussing who do you think he was coming after? He was coming after everybody. When I worked at WHAM, there was a guy in the building who everybody had pegged for, if anybody goes postal, it's going to be this dude. Mark our words. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, he never did. He was fine. But he was one of those guys that, like, you would always had a screw loose, like something was going to go wrong. He's nobody anybody knows, okay? It's not one of those. It's not a person of note. But it was one of those guys where you're, like, quiet, but had a mean streak.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we were like, oh, dude, easy, man. Easy, take it easy. Like, there's a couple times where I had to actually talk him off a ledge. At 23 years old.
But in all seriousness, could you work? Could you continue? If you were upper management, could you'd be a little, I mean, you talk about PTSD, you could have a little, somebody was potentially, according to all reports, coming for you.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't do it. In fact, here's the other thing, too. Let's say you decide you're going to leave this company after what happened, what you heard what happened, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to go across the street or down the road to another company. Hey, so why you leave? But no, we had a little incident. And then you look at the resume and you see those, what was it, CVAC or what was the name of the company, right? So wait, did this guy work for you? Yeah. I'd be like, I appreciate your time. We'll give you a call because there's no way you want to bring that dude or anybody from upper management from that company into your company because when this dude gets loose, he may come out and go after you.
Well, that's true. And he may not. He may get the help he needs. Maybe he'll calm down a little bit. Things will go on.
He might.
But I'll tell you this.
If there's a 1% chance he does it, you want to take it?
What a great excuse to get out of work for the next month. I'm just saying, hey, listen, I cannot walk in there today. I'm going to have to work remotely from home. I mean, you could use this PTSD. You could say, like, let's say your wife, she wants to get together with this other couple, and it's her best friend and her husband. You can't stand the husband. You can't stand this guy. And you just go, listen, honey, ever since I've had this close brush with death, I've really decided I need to value the time I have.
Yeah.
And I would rather spend it naked with you.
Yeah.
Or gargling shards of glass than being with that couple.
Hanging out with Ralph and Tina.
Yeah, Ralph and Tina. Exactly. Wouldn't that be? I think you could use this to your advantage.
Oh, that's your get out of free card.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to bring up a horrible event, but remember the whole Columbine thing? After Columbine, all these schools, like mine included, back home, all of a sudden just started getting these random threats of violence. And who was going to? So all of a sudden, every school in Chautauqua County was getting like a call in, like, okay, next day is your turn. All these schools, because they didn't want to take a chance. They were taking advantage of the fact that an incident had happened, and all these schools in the area were now like, all of a sudden, you guys noticing a pattern? We're getting a lot of these so-called threats coming to the school, like bomb threats and stuff. And people were doing it. They were taking advantage of the situation. I'm not bringing light to it. It was one of those things where, don't let a crisis go to waste. I think people were trying to do that.
I'm just saying, if that's me, if someone goes, I'm coming.
Now, have you ever had a situation where you had a buddy get some help and your help wasn't included in that help?
What?
I had a buddy, right?
Yeah.
His family had an intervention for him.
Yeah.
I was one of his best friends.
Okay.
So he calls me. He goes, listen, I quit drinking.
Okay.
I go, okay. He goes, no, you don't understand. I had a drinking problem. Now, I was going through a divorce at the time, so I was kind of oblivious to the whole situation.
So they didn't want to bother you.
So,
were you hurt by this?
I was like,
were you bothered that you were part of the intervention?
Why did you call me?
Is this what you were?
Yeah.
Why? It's not about you.
No, I know.
You should be happy your buddy got help. You had your own problems.
I had my own problems.
Yes.
But his wife thought enough of me. Like, he's got enough problems. I go, I could have helped, but here's the thing. I didn't realize he had a drinking problem. That's the whole, but I was still hurt that they didn't call me to ask me to intervene.
How good a friend are you? You didn't even notice.
What a jackass I was.
I do wonder if this Plattsburgh guy, they don't mention
But why did you call me?
They don't mention if he was single or not. And from looking at him, I think right? If you're on the phone with your brother.
I know a guy like that who's married.
Yeah,
looks
so
just like
do
that.
I.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm thinking that he's a single guy. And today is sad. Singles Awareness Day, the day after Valentine's Day when we're taping this. So it's February 15th. And it's for people who are single and totally despise being alone. Now, there are some benefits. People say you sleep better. Single people sleep better and more peacefully than couples.
I could believe that.
Yeah, no snoring, no anything, right?
Right. Get the whole bed to yourself.
Single people don't have to worry about their finances and expenditures compared to couples.
Yeah, it's all yours.
They have more friends. Generally, it's easier for single people to maintain friendships over the years because you can do stuff if you're available.
If you're a guy.
If you're available.
I don't know if it's the same for women.
Being single comes with a lot of freedom, no commitments, making it easy to move on, and more time to focus like on your job and your personal life, if that's what you wanted. However,
when you get older,
Danny gives us a story today that goes right against it. A new study by the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics, and it says that people living alone are more likely to report feeling depressed. The most interesting takeaway from the study, says a social scientist who wasn't part of the study, is that the people want to feel supported, and this is consistent with other evidence. New study comes at a time when the number of single-person households, and I wonder if this is because people are living longer or women are living longer than men. And they say single-person households in the U.S. has skyrocketed from 2012 to 2022. The number of Americans living alone jumped by nearly 5 million to 37.9 million in the country.
That's a lot.
But would that be, are people waiting to get married so they're living alone?
I'm wondering if one of the two pass away.
That's what I'm saying. Like somebody's, yeah. I mean, look, I have 50 years and he died and I live another, now I'm 80 and I live to be 90.
We know an older gentleman whom he and his wife stopped having relations probably years ago, a few decades ago, because, when you get to be a woman, you go through menopause, you don't want to have to do that. So he would visit prostitutes.
How do you know?
Okay.
How do you know? Who is this?
What? I'm not going to say who it is. It's a very well-known person in town.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you know this?
Because...
Did they tell you?
No, I'm just putting two and two together.
All right.
Okay. And so
your math
men can keep going.
Well, they can because
women
of the pill.
Can't.
And by the way,
right.
Hang on a second. There's things for women too. They give
there are.
Yes, there are. But there's stuff.
But I don't think that they have that same drive.
No.
Like men are wired to want to repopulate the earth every 15 minutes, whereas women aren't like that.
I don't know. I've knew some women that were like,
well, yeah, but in their 70s, not every woman's the Golden Girls, okay?
I don't know many women in their 70s. I don't think those women were in their 70s.
So I think a lot of guys think think about this. When somebody passes away in a relationship, okay?
Yeah.
Oftentimes that dude is remarried within 2 years. I know several couples.
I would say I would go one further than that.
Okay.
I would think that a lot of times if a married couple breaks up, and they've been married for, I'll say, 5 years or more, that the guy pretty quickly gets into another relationship.
Yes.
Right, pretty quickly. And I think it's a familiarity. You know somebody, this is what you want, and it may not be the right person. It may be sexual attraction. It may be somebody who's younger. It may be somebody who's a little more tolerant of certain things. I don't know. I can't explain that. But that's why I would always say to anybody, hey, give yourself some time.
Right.
Give yourself some time.
Yeah.
Figure you out, because
make sure you're emotionally available.
As much as anybody will say, I just couldn't handle blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're bringing stuff yourself, and it'll be the same situation, different players. And that's why I think for a lot of people, a second marriage doesn't always work. There's many, many people who the second marriage fails, I think, more often than first marriages.
Yeah.
Like statistically. And I think that's part of the reason is that, and I would think it's mostly guys, maybe women as well, but I think for some reason women are just, to me, have a higher emotional IQ.
Yes.
And they're a little more aware, and they can see things a little clearer, and
they're not controlled by their instincts.
Yeah. And so I think I just think that's part of the reason. But I don't know this statistic as to why. I think it may be a couple things. People living longer after someone passes away, and people waiting to get married.
Could be. Or people who just can't. They can't find anybody. Like my psychologist
How
friend
the
was
fuck
telling
can
me
you
that
not
he
find
deals
anybody when you've got.
when they have no social skills.
Oh God!
There's this new term that's come out in the last 5-6 years. It's called incel. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Incelibate?
Yes.
Involuntary.
Yes. Involuntary celibacy.
I think there's
Yes.
a reason why that term is out there.
Yes, but involuntary celibacy is like a term. It's become like the hip term, and it's young guys usually, and they go, "Is it my face?" And you know, now they're having work done on their face. It's becoming a big thing.
I know a guy who actually has an algorithm, a facial algorithm.
I'll go back to this. Is it a big thing? I don't know.
We're told it is. You're right.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, is it a big thing? I don't know.
I'm just trying to explain this gap between 2010 and 2022.
Okay, you told me there's a guy that looks like somebody from Plattsburgh who's married. There's somebody for everybody on the planet. That's all I'm saying. And there's more than somebody, than one somebody. And yes, social skills are big, but I mean, I think that we're also seeing more and more of that stuff.
Yeah.
As time goes on. I don't know. All right, we'll take a moment. Our friend Racing Randy getting excited because tonight, NASCAR, well, I don't know that it begins, but they do have some stuff happening down at Daytona. It's the Blue-Green Vacations Duel 1. And Randy goes, "Hey, buddy, you got to call me before 7 o'clock because I'm going to be watching them races." And I said, "Oops." I go, "Randy, I'm not calling you before 7. I can't do it. We've got stuff going on."
Randy, you got a DVR, right? You could pause.
Yeah. And something new from Dan called
Podcastitutional amendments.
Podcast.
Like, have you ever heard of Bill Maher's new rules?
Yes.
We're going to start doing that on this show.
This is you.
This is me. This is all me.
This is all you.
It's all me. I know I'm going to get crap for it, but that's the idea.
We'll get to that next.